If you're thinking about buying a vineyard property in Northern California's wine country, there are some things you should definitely consider first on how to choose the best property. But don't worry, because I'm here to help you with that. I live in Sonoma County and have had a home here for over a decade, and I've helped lots of people just like you buy and sell vineyard properties. So stick around, because I'll tell you all you need to know in order to buy the perfect vineyard property. So hello everyone and welcome back. My name's David and I'm your local real estate specialist in Sonoma County, California. I've helped 70 families buy and sell their homes over the past year, and I want to help you too. So whether you live in the Bay Area or somewhere else for that matter, in California or elsewhere, owning a vineyard property is a dream for many people. But there are several things you should learn before buying one out of the blue. And I'll help you by giving you all you need to know and give you a guide on how to choose the right vineyard property with all the inside information you'll ever need. First, I'll share some experiences of clients who bought vineyard properties and then what were the main factors that helped them choose the perfect property. Last year, I helped a client who wanted to purchase a property with a small vineyard, or else at least one that overlooked vineyards, so it truly felt like a wine country home. They wanted the added benefit of it being eligible to be vacation rented if they ever decided they wanted to do that. I mean, they had a budget of $3 million, so definitely something that was realistic. We looked at numerous different properties, but eventually landed on one on Adobe Canyon Road in Kenwood, which definitely checked all the boxes. It only had just over half an acre of grace, but it was set in the beautiful Sonoma Valley, surrounded by numerous vineyards and wineries. For them, not only was it vacation rentable, which can be hard to find for a vineyard property due to the underlying zoning of many of those types of properties, but the 3-bedroom home also had a guest cottage, making it perfect for them to retreat from the city with flexibility for guests to stay away from the main house. One of the common misconceptions is that an acre or two of vineyard will give you a steady income. I mean, that may be the case if you're lucky, but depending on the varietal, it's equally likely to be a liability, partly because it's generally a lot more expensive on a per acre basis to get someone to manage a super small vineyard if you've only got an acre or two. To get a vineyard management company to take a vineyard seriously and price the management of it at a market rate per acre, you really need a minimum of 6 to 8 acres or so. Anything smaller than that can turn into expensive landscaping. I mean, that being said, for many people, having a hobby vineyard is not about the income, it's about learning the craft of managing vines or paying someone to manage them for them so that they can actually create their own estate wine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to realize you may have to pay for the privilege or you may make money. You just have to be prepared for both outcomes. So my clients have now been in the property for just less than a year, and they've given it a makeover on the inside, working with a designer that I recommended. And they've also got someone managing the vineyard for approximately $10,000 per acre, which to be honest is closer to the cost to manage an acre, not half an acre. And then they're going to take the income from selling the grapes. They chose to do it this way rather than have someone manage the vineyard and then give them a case of wine or two as payment in kind, which is another common way for vineyard property owners to pay the vineyard management company. The other benefit of paying the expenses up front is that you can include the various running costs for the property in the expenses for the vineyard operation, thereby getting a tax deduction. And I've got another client who had a much more ambitious goal, which was to buy a property as a first step to them in actually launching their own wine brand. They purchased a property in Dry Creek Valley that had existing vines, although they were very old and an old home, but the property had a ton of potential due to its unique location and terroir. They had a very clear idea from the outset of the type of wines they wanted to make, so they needed to find a property that would support their desire for Cabernet, Syrah, Mourvèdre, and also Grenache. Over the past few years, they've totally replanted the entire vineyard, which is a major undertaking in its own right. It's not inexpensive, but there are lots of requirements from the county when it comes to planting a new vineyard. I mean, the first thing you'll need to do is to get the necessary permits and approvals. But before planting new vines, you need a use permit from Sonoma County. The process involves a whole ton of things, including soil testing, climate analysis, and submitting detailed plans to the county, including the vineyard's location, the trellising system, and the irrigation method. I mean, you can expect this process to take 6 to 12 months for full approval. If you're actually replanting within the same footprint and using the same infrastructure, an agricultural grading permit may well suffice, which is a lot quicker and simpler. However, any changes to the layout all the systems will require a use modification permit, which is just a more involved process. Of course, replanting a vineyard isn't cheap. The infrastructure alone can cost from $30,000 to $50,000 per acre, covering the site preparation, trellising, the wiring, irrigation systems, etc. I mean, that's before you've even bought the vines. I mean, typically older vineyards have 800 to 1,000 vines per acre, while more modern vineyards typically have 1,500 to 1,600 vines per acre. And then you've got the cost of the vines themselves. So grafted vines cost about $6 to $7 each. So the cost of the vines alone will be approximately now $9,000 per acre. And there are so many other things to think about if you are taking on a vineyard of 10 plus acres as a commercial operation. Not least, your water supply, the different types of vineyard management companies you can choose from, the financing of the property itself and also its redevelopment. And the most important thing is how to sell the fruit and or find a winemaker if you're going to be making wine. I'm pleased to say my clients have successfully navigated this whole process and have now had a couple of years of successful harvest and are about to launch their very own wine brand, which has been a goal for them for well over a decade. And it's been super exciting to follow them on their journey and taste their first wine just a few weeks ago. So what are the different types of vineyard property that you can purchase if you are thinking of getting a wine country property? Of course, it depends on your budget. I mean, if you're looking at a small wine country estate with a hobby vineyard, you can find something for a couple of $1 million. But if you want a commercial winery, then, to be honest, the sky's the limit. On the buy side, the two most important requests I get are people looking to either build or buy a luxury vineyard property. So let's first talk about buying a vineyard with a site to build a home. So whether you're looking to build a home in a vineyard or not, finding a site to build a home definitely requires a deep understanding of some of the challenges of both finding a buildable lot and also an appreciation for the costs of building in Sonoma County. I mean, if you are interested in knowing more about the cost of building in Sonoma County, you might be interested in my video all about the costs of building, which I'll put a link in the description below. So you can either look for a property that already has a vineyard planted on it, or else find a property where you can go through the process to develop your own vineyard. I mean, a good example of a turnkey vineyard property are the properties that make up Hall Ranch, which is just northeast of Healdsburg, which is a gated vineyard community offering 40-acre lots, each featuring a few acres of vineyards. At nearly $3 million for the more expensive sites, I mean, they're currently horribly overpriced, but a lot of the hard work has been done when it comes to the overall infrastructure, making them build ready with a well, septic systems have been scoped out, and the building envelopes have been identified. Another example is a property I recently sold at 2476 Right Branch Lane in the Chalk Hill AVA. This was a 50-acre property that had a well developed, had a home site, but the property could support the planting of a few additional acres of vines, providing, a blank canvas for somebody to develop a vineyard property. So now let's talk about buying a luxury vineyard residence rather than just a site to build a home. I mean, these are probably the easiest properties to find in Sonoma County. A high-end home with a hobby vineyard that's already been planted. Whether you're looking in Sonoma Valley, Bennett Valley, the Russian River, or in and around the valleys of Healdsburg, such as Alexander Valley and Dry Creek Valley, there are always multiple different options of homes like this. One example of a property is 1176 Astley Ridge, which is located just 20 minutes from Healdsburg. It's a modern Mediterranean-style villa, which also happens to be zoned for a vacation rental license, making it ideal for personal enjoyment or for someone to create income and have a cost-neutral second home with their own vineyards. This particular home is 4,000 square feet of living space, 75-foot heated lap pool with a spa, and then 2 acres of a hobby vineyard which is planted to Cabernet Sauvignon, as well as a bocce court, a fire pit, and multiple lounging areas strategically placed around to capture the stunning vineyard views. At $4 million, it really is the full package for a luxury vineyard property. If you're looking around Sonoma, this is the area where you're likely to find the most types of properties of this type. For example, there's a property on 21765 Champlain Creek Lane in Sonoma in Carneros called the Glass House. I mean, this is a $15 million home. It's set on 150 acres of rolling vineyard hills, and it's a modern architectural masterpiece. It really is. The main house includes 2 bedrooms, an office, and then 2.5 baths, while the detached guest house offers 2 additional bedrooms and a bathroom and a bar area. And the great thing about this house is it's got walls of retractable glass which flood the home with natural light, blending the indoor and outdoor spaces seamlessly. And located in the prime Carneros region, the property includes nearly 10 acres of of Pinot Noir vineyards, which are among the best in the area, and also 100 olive trees, so you've got the opportunity to make your own olive oil. It also boasts resort-style amenities such as a pool, spa, bocce court, outdoor fireplace, complete privacy, and it's got solar panels, so it really is set up as an amazing vineyard property, and all this for just 15 minutes from Sonoma Plaza and less than 45 minutes from the Golden Gate Bridge. I mean, it's hard to find a property with more appeal as a high-end luxury vineyard property, but of course it costs you money. I mean, some people want more than just a home. For some people, finding the vineyard property involves finding something that can be developed into a commercial property over time. I mean, this may involve finding a property that is a full-blown winery or one that's partly developed, but more importantly has the right zoning and attributes to be developed into a small winery over time. If this is what you're looking for, then one of the biggest things you'll need to consider is the extent of the commercial activities that you want to carry out on the property. For example, if you want to have a fully fledged tasting room, a wine production facility, and events, you'll need to do your homework on the steps required to get these different types of use permits, because there will almost certainly be limitations on what you can do at particular properties. A good example of a property with development potential is a 70-acre ranch on West Dry Creek with 12 acres planted, which we've got coming up on the market soon. The property is unusual in that it's got a newly built tasting room and production facility with a valuable permit for a large number of events each year. It also includes a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom farmhouse which is in need of renovation, but this full package for $7 million is a really interesting proposition if you're looking to start your own wine label, offer tastings and start a wine club, as well as being able to live on the property. What about if you're looking to buy a fully fledged functioning winery? Well, if you are looking for the opportunity to buy a full commercial winery, then now's a good time, or maybe a bad time, because there are quite a few of those for sale. And there's no question that the underlying fundamentals for a profitable winery are tough right now, with interest rates so high, the oversupply of grapes depressing the price of grapes if you're looking to sell the fruit, and the highly competitive nature of the direct-to-consumer wine brand market. I mean, one trend we are seeing is a trend away from smaller wines having their own production facilities and moving to a custom crush facility. I mean, one of the big wineries in Dry Creek Valley, Comstock, is selling its property, which includes a huge winemaking facility, and moving to a new tasting room in Healdsburg, keeping the Comstock brand, but selling all of the assets for the property and all the winemaking assets. Another label recently did the same. VML Truett-Hurst sold its facilities on Dry Creek Road and moved into town, is using a third-party production facility. I mean, if you think about it, it makes no sense having these huge assets just sitting around doing nothing until harvest once a year. So moving a vineyard production facility to a custom crush rather than owning your own just makes way more sense. But these production facilities don't come cheap. The Comstock winery includes a 20,000 square foot production facility built in 2015 with a permit to expand to 27,000 square feet. But it also does feature a 6,500 square foot luxury residence, and it also has a 35,000 case per year production permit, as well as being allowed to do both indoor and outdoor events at its tasting room. And the sale of Comstock also includes 10.5 acres of planted vineyard in Dry Creek Valley. So Quivira is another winery that's for sale at the moment, priced at $25 million, which is a 85-acre estate on Dry Creek Valley, which is also known for its highly sustainable working practices. And if you are moving to Sonoma County from out of the area, make sure you grab my Sonoma County relocation guide, and I'll put a link in the description below. There you'll find everything you need to know before making the move here, give you a breakdown of the area, the things to do, the different neighborhoods, and way more besides, so make sure you check it out. I mean, I've lived in Sonoma County for over 5 years now, having moved from the Bay Area, and I love the amazing vineyards we have here. For me, it's the perfect investment in this area because it's such a great community based around the wine industry. I mean, whenever you go out for dinner to a friend's house, you'll have the opportunity to taste some amazing wines that people around the table have access to. I mean, it's really a pretty special experience. If you decide to live in a property that either has its own vineyard or you borrow the view of someone else's vineyard, it is very special. Throughout the year, you'll see how the vines are cared for and the amount of love and attention that goes into growing high quality grapes. But you also see how the vines change through the seasons, which is truly spectacular. And I really appreciate being able to see all the different seasons, which is not something that you always saw living in the Bay Area. For many people, they'll move to wine country after having had successful careers elsewhere. So developing an interest in wine and the winery business is an alternative way to flex your business brain and apply your skills to an entirely new industry that just so happens to be a fantastic lifestyle industry, giving you the chance to meet and interact with such a broad range of people, from vineyard workers to winemakers to retailers and restaurateurs. So if you made it to this point in the video, there's a good chance that you're thinking about buying a vineyard property or investing in this area or buying a second home or selling your current one. We'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. Just email me at david@brewingtonhargreaves.com to get started. I mean, our team is the #1 team in Sonoma County according to the latest Real Trends data, with over $80 million in properties bought and sold last year. I mean, we look forward to helping you whether you want a winery, a vineyard property, a second home or investment property. Just get in touch if you want updates on the homes that are coming on the market and way more besides. And hey, before you go, if you like this video, you'll love my next video all about everything you need to know before deciding to move to Sonoma County. There I'll break down the different areas and give the rankings to the different areas and see what it's like to live here and way more. So make sure you check it out. See you in the next video.